The question I asked you, are the race-neutral policies praised by Justice Thomas now considered by you to be illegal DEI?
General, you believe in diversity, don't you?
I do, sir, yes.
Chairman. Ms. Dhillon, you recently announced that DOJ was launching an investigation into the University of California over its UC 2030 capacity plan, which notes that future growth of faculty and students should result in campus populations that better reflect and tap the talent of underrepresented populations who represent the majority of Californians. In the SFFA versus Harvard opinion, the Supreme Court held that nothing in this opinion should be construed as prohibiting universities from considering an applicant's discussion of how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise, allowing universities to continue assessing students' experience with race on an individualized basis. Justice Thomas praised the University of California for achieving diversity through race-neutral policies, including preferences for low-income applicants and first-generation students, and recruiting efforts targeted at areas with substantial populations of people of color. Are the race-neutral policies like those used by University of California, which Justice Thomas explicitly praised in that opinion, now considered by you to be illegal DEI?
Well, Senator, first of all, the investigation that we've opened is an investigation, and it's an investigation into the hiring policies of the University of California system, not the admissions policies. That said, I have absolutely seen abuses in the admissions policies in using race as a crude proxy for discrimination.
That's not the question I asked you. Are the race-neutral policies praised by Justice Thomas now considered by you to be illegal DEI?
I think you're mixing apples and oranges, so I can't really answer your question.
You can answer my question and say, yes, they are now illegal, things like that. Are you now saying that what Justice Thomas praised is now illegal in your view?
Senator, there's a difference between what you see on paper and what you see in reality, and I reject your premise. I reject your premise that how California describes its admissions practices is
about whether you subscribe to the Supreme Court's opinion or whether you disagree with Justice Thomas' concurrence. You can answer that question, can't you?
In the abstract, yes. In reality, what you're describing does not exist in the UC system.
Okay, so Justice Thomas got it wrong. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that.
Well, you are saying that because he was praising the policies of the University of California. You seem to be saying now that any university that gives a preference to low-income applicants is engaged in illegal DEI, or if they put a focus on first-generation students, that's somehow impermissible. After all the years of criticism of cancel culture, you seem to want to cancel any institution that has views that you disagree with. In answer to the questions about law firms, you want to cancel law firms because they take on unpopular clients to you, to the administration. That is, if a firm represents someone with an adverse interest to the administration, which is their First Amendment right to do, and I would also say their duty to do, you would cancel them. You would cancel universities like Harvard or the University of Virginia that take positions and exercise their First Amendment rights contrary to what you think the administration wants to see. You would cancel the Associated Press for not using the ridiculous nomenclature of the Gulf of America. You're canceling now the Wall Street Journal because the Wall Street Journal had the audacity to publish an article about Trump's connections to Jeffrey Epstein. So this is what's going on in this administration. You've devastated the Civil Rights Division. Hundreds of attorneys, 368, have departed since January of this year. There's been a mass exodus from the Civil Rights Department. It is just a shell of what it used to be. They're being canceled. They're being canceled by you, by the department. Anyone that stands up to this president is at risk of being canceled. And I think what you're doing to use the sledgehammer of federal funding with universities to try to coerce them to accepting your right-wing agenda is disgraceful. And using that cudgel will have far-reaching implications, attacking research done by universities, academic independence done by universities. It will establish a dangerous precedent that can be abused by a president of any party, and we should recognize that on a bipartisan basis, even though it does not appear that we do. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General, how are you?
I'm well, sir. Thank you.
Good. General, you believe in diversity, don't you?
I do, sir, yes.
Yeah. And if I defined equity as a state of fairness and impartiality, you believe in equity, don't you?
Well, equity is a proxy for discrimination, unfortunately, in these
I know,
policies,
but I'm not
so-
talking about the proxy. If I define it as a state of fairness and impartiality.
Those are very important virtues, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I certainly agree with equity. And I watched it through your confirmation. You strike me as an inclusive person as opposed to exclusive. You seem to like people.
I like to think so, sir.
So you believe in diversity, equity, inclusion, as most normal people understand those terms. But that's not what we're talking about here, is it?
And no, it isn't.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion, as many institutions and people in America like to use it, we're talking about quotas, aren't they?
Yes, unfortunately, quotas have become the proxy for that vaunted slogan.
So when someone says diversity, equity, inclusion, we're talking about quotas. Let's be honest.
Quotas and discrimination.
Do you think, let's just take race. You can discriminate on any number of things, and you shouldn't discriminate on any of them, not an illegitimate characteristic. Do you think race should be used to harm a person?
It's illegal to use race either to affirmatively try to help or discriminate against an
It's
individual.
wrong to use race to harm somebody.
Yes, sir.
It's wrong to harm somebody because of their race.
It's illegal and un-American.
Yeah, it's okay to harm them legally and appropriately because they're an a-hole, but not because of their race, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, it's also wrong and illegal to help somebody because of their race.
That is correct.
I mean, that's illegal, right?
Under our Supreme Court precedents and our laws, that is correct.
Okay, but we still have institutions, even after the Supreme Court's opinion, we still have institutions in America, some in government, certainly some in the private sector. I'm thinking of some of our universities who insist on implementing quotas. And that's what you're going after, as I understand.
I'm
Am I right?
aggressively seeking to end those quotas. They're illegal and un-American.
Okay. And that's really what we're talking about, is quotas. I think most Americans don't think about race as much as people in Washington, D.C. do. The American people they understand that souls don't have a color. They believe that to a bear, all of us taste the same, like chicken. So this obsession now with diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's not really, I mean, it's a pretty phrase, but it's not diversity. Who's against diversity? That's like being against golden retrievers. Who's against equity? Who's against inclusion? So they pretty it up, but they're really talking about quotas. And it's illegal. And it's immoral. And it's un-American. And it exists. And I'm watching it happen in our universities. You know, I mean, Harvard, I wish it weren't the case. Incredible university, really bright people, but it's clear they believe in diversity and equity and inclusion and the right to hurt Jewish people. What did we come to? Any closing comments? I said too much.
No, Senator, I agree with you, and I will say that the whole of this government is dedicated towards providing equal opportunity for all Americans. And anti-Semitism on our campuses is a shocking problem, but we've actually made great progress just in these first 100 days on that front. So thank you for your attention to these issues.
General, don't let the bastards get you down, okay?
Thank you.